Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Mac.
And today we're going to talk about 10 games, 5 each, that are currently in our kind of game night game bag.
Where's the bag? We should have thrown
We
it up
should
on
have
the
had
table.
the bag up here, but we did not.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Some premium content for you guys.
That's pretty premium. Maybe Jesse will put a huge thing of it, image of it.
Put a picture of it.
But yeah, we did a video like this, I think 2 years ago. So we'll link that below. You can check out those. That's 10 other games. Initially, I did not tell you that I was hoping to have 10 new games, so you did have a couple matching.
I did.
So that list overall should still be pretty relevant, pretty good options if you don't like these 10 options. But yeah, we can start. I can start, I suppose, if you want.
Okay, you go.
And I'll start with a cooperative game that I got this year that's set in the same world as another game that we have that Jesse likes a lot more, I think, than the rest of us, which is Isle of Cats. And this one is Race to the Raft, which is kind of more of a puzzly game than... It's maybe even more of a puzzle than a game, I guess. There's that thought in my head of, is a puzzle a game? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but it's much more a puzzle.
This is what keeps you up at night.
It keeps me up all night long, in fact. So, this Race to the Raft is a fun activity game where you are trying to get these cats from one portion of the board onto the raft to kind of save them. And you're doing this by taking these, kind of drafting these cards and hoping to get kind of that color path and make the path from where they currently are to that, while the island is being covered in kind of flames of the board. And you sometimes...
Lots of forest fires on those islands.
Exactly. They need Smokey the Bear to fight the forest fires. And yeah, and then as you go on, it's kind of like, I was going to say plan on the crew is what I was thinking of. It gets harder, and you have to start having certain cats saved before others, and kind of it just adds more and more elements to it, which I just find a lot of fun. And I think this is just a good option if you're looking for a cooperative game.
Yeah, I find a lot of cooperative games pretty unbearable when it... When it comes to some of them, you know, there can be someone who's directing the entire game, and you're just kind of like, whatever, just tell me what you want me to do, because you're clearly playing this by yourself. But luckily, that doesn't happen very often. You don't have too many people. But that's just kind of how I feel in cooperative games. But I feel like with this one, you have cards, and so you're really limited to, like, what you can choose. And so I feel like this game facilitates, like, that cooperative conversation about, like, hey, this would be good, we need to do that, remember this one has to be first, you know, like, and because you have cards, there's only certain actions you can take, and they're private to you, so,
and there's limited communication.
Right. So I feel like this game is a decent cooperative game if you're going to bring it along. Oh, it's me. Okay. So these are in no particular order. I just kind of wrote them down as I was thinking about what games I for sure would want in my bag. And so I'm just going to start with a heavy, because you got to have at least one crunchy game in there to suck up some time. And so I went with Ark Nova, which has been a flash in the pan, it feels like, this last year or two, where it just got out and everyone's wild about it. But I chose this one because, one, I'd like to play it more so that I learn it so I don't have to live in the rule book every time we play that game. And two, it's got a lot of fun elements to it, like hand management, I guess you would say, with like the cards, the way you place them down, and the actions, the strength of the actions. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called exactly, where it gets stronger.
But you're managing
river
stuff.
action thing, something.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then you're picking up zoo animals, and then on top of that, there's kind of like this Polyomino piece of it, and it's got the cool scoring piece of like Raja's, where it's like overlapping. I don't know that it does it as well, but if you want a thick, crunchy game, which I think has a decent amount of replayability, just because the cards in the deck are so wide a variety, the scoring is all wide open because it's all different types of cards and all different types of animals, and some work better here and there, and there's all these bonus cards on top of it. We play Terraforming Mars a lot, so it's not one that I felt like we had to put in our game bag because it's literally here, it's there, it's wherever we might go to play games, and so I felt like Ark Nova was a good crunchy pick for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one we definitely have to play more. Haven't played that one as much as I kind of
like
thought
a
I would.
3-hour game, so it's like a
Yeah.
day long, so it depends on what you want and what you're doing, but that's the whole point of having a game bag, so you can choose.
That is true. Well, then I'll go to my heavier pick, and that is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. And actually, I could either have it be that or Scholars of the South Tigris.
I was going to say, I was surprised that you didn't go with Scholars, considering how over the moon you are about it.
Yeah, I really enjoy both of them, so I could, depending on the game night,
I feel like
just bring
Wayfarers
either one.
is just a tish more approachable.
It probably is.
Tish. They're both very.
It probably is.
They're both very heavy.
It probably
but
is.
A tish.
Yeah.
Is the Scholars a 4 on the BGG?
Not sure. I don't. I
Okay.
haven't checked that. I would guess they're both mid to higher 3s, if not low 4s.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both Garfield games, which I really, really enjoy, and both of them are probably some of their thinkiest games yet, or right there.
Mm-hmm.
With maybe Paladins and Circadians are up there too. But yeah, they just are really big feeling experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We've mainly played them at, I think, 2 and 3, so I don't know. I guess if you are playing with 4, they might be a little bit long, but I
It
think
might be
it would
tight too with 4 players.
That's true, and yeah, I think I'd still really enjoy both of the games. They just take a little bit longer. I think they'd both work with larger player counts. But yeah, just kind of depending on what experience you're wanting, there's a little bit more manipulation going on, I would say, in Scholars with kind of the color wheel. Sometimes just the color matters, sometimes your dice amounts matter, sometimes both matter, and then you're just going up these tracks, which I would say I don't feel like any of those are like, oh, the red track definitely makes sense that thematically that it's this or that, but I do like how those tracks work and how they give you rewards if you activate them kind of during your turn, and then I feel like the actual translation piece, just that piece feels really thematic. I think it works really well.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a bit
part
of a
that I
headache,
really like.
so it might take some time to get that.
Might take some time, and then with Wayfarers of the South Tigris, the way the kind of your tableau builds out, and just kind of the really beautiful artwork and stuff too, and activating those actions. There's some manipulation that can happen with the dice on that as well. It feels like it's not as much.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of options you can do with that one as well. So, yeah, these are going to be ones that I'm going to be probably bringing to game night, I would say, quite often, just because they've got a lot of replayability, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
It's hard. They're crunchy. Crunchy games are hard, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What should I say next? So I curated my picks. I tried to, choose one for this purpose, that purpose, and whatever, because I like to have a lot of variety. I'd hate to throw a bunch of Polyomino games as my 5 and just be stuck with Polyomino games. Unless that's your vibe and you want to force somebody to play the Polyomino game, then you can do that. But I guess I tried to kind of hit every box with the games I brought in my bag. So, the next one I'll say is Planet Unknown, which has just been a smash in our game group, and probably one we pull out almost every time we have a board game night. What's great about this is that it ranges in difficulty, so you can play the base version if you're brand new at the game. You can play a more difficult version or combo map of these things, if you are adding a little bit more to it. And then it also is great because it goes up to 6 players, and so it kind of widens that game group a little bit. I don't know how many people are an average game group. We typically have 4, sometimes 6, depending on what's going on. But this one's great. It's solid because you're really just playing on your board by yourself, and you're kind of just trying to do what you can to win the game kind of on your own while dealing with whatever you're thrown by the lazy Susan. And so I think this is just a great game. It's Polyomino. It's fairly quick, I think, for what it is. And people just love it. And you want to have a good time at board game night, I think this is just a must in the bag to have that good time. So.
Yeah, the simultaneous piece to it, where everyone's doing their tiles all at the same time, I think keeps the flow of the game going really well. And that's the piece that kind of, I guess, makes me think of Tiny Towns a little bit, where if you're playing the version where people are calling out a color and stuff, that one it's more of a bingo style where everyone's using the same. Whereas this, obviously, you're going to get whatever's put in front of you, which will be 2 options of shapes, but. Yeah, I think that works really well at even up to 6. And yeah, the variability of the planet boards and the corporations is really great.
And who doesn't love those cute little rovers?
Yes. Well, for my next one, it's kind of a whole system, and it's something we have a lot of content on, so you can go back and check out our whole tournament.
You throw this in your bag just so you could plug all.
Just so I could plug our videos, our unnamed unmatched tournament. So this is the unmatched game system, and this is one if you're maybe waiting for people to come. If you have a game, depending on how your game nights usually go, if you're waiting for people to come, this is one you could play at 2 players, and probably get done relatively quickly. Some games can go a little bit longer, some are going to be shorter.
Yeah.
And you can also, if you have multiple sets of it, you could kind of just do a small game night tournament. You could just have, people face off and kind of do that.
You could do 4-player too if you need.
Yeah, you could do. Yep, you can do 4-player teams and stuff. And then recently we also have Tales to Amaze Unmatched Adventure, so you can play cooperatively. I would say I haven't actually played with 4 players, but me and Pepper have played 2-handed each, so to have 4. That the game does get a little bit long. The Tales to Amaze does at 4, but I think it's still be good. It'll just be a lot less of you taking turns. At least in that one, me and Pepper were each getting to take 2 of the turns.
Yeah.
Whereas in that, it could be a long time between your 2 turns. But I think, there's many ways you could play it. I think it just opens up the opportunities to do that, and it's just a really fun game, I think, for most player counts. Maybe 3, probably if you have a group of 3, it's probably not the best game for that, but otherwise I think it works pretty well. Or an odd number, I should say, not necessarily just 3.
Yeah. Solid pick. Okay, next is, for me, kind of a verb and write game, but kind of next level, so it's not just writing on a sheet of paper kind of vibe, and that is the Guild of Merchant Explorers. And we've actually only played this like 2 times, so I haven't really gotten to go out and experience all of the different maps that they have. But this one is like simple, but also strategic, I guess, in some ways, so it's thought-provoking. So it's kind of that nice, like, in-between of crunchy and too easy for your game night bag, and it's just, I feel like it's really approachable because you just are all dealing with the same type of cards, and your map typically is going to be the same in the versions we've played, and it's all about how you're placing them out and kind of what special cards you get and kind of how you gotta go for points. And so I feel like this is just a great solid game, and because it comes with a lot of different maps, it comes with like a lot of growth, and so it's one that you could bring to multiple game nights probably and still find a lot of satisfaction with it over time. So I think this game is just really solid. You're just playing out cards and laying on terrain based on those cards and trying to score points and get money, create villages, and get to special wizard towers. But basically just mapping out your trade path, I guess, is what it would be.
Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. This one's been one that I've wanted to play even more, and yeah, it's kind of got a kingdom builder feel to it a little bit, where you get a certain card and then you can add your buildings to those spots. But in this one, everyone's using the same mostly the same cards, and then
Mm-hmm.
throughout the game you'll be gaining some special ones that will be what make it make you different from every player, and usually those are really powerful and feel really good,
Mm-hmm.
which I always like in games. So
Yeah.
that is a great pick. And then my next one is a game that's been pretty well received by our group. Unfortunately, it only plays to four players, or is it five? It's either 4 or 5. I think it's only 4, and that's Cascadia. And this one is.
Oh. Yep.
Cascadia, is that 4 or 5? Or were you thinking I was going to do the other one?
I was thinking you were going to do
The other one is 4.
I have no idea on this one.
But yeah, this one is really approachable game where you are building out kind of a landscape of different types of terrain, and while also doing patterns with the different animal types that you can get, where there's cards on the table that say like, oh, bears score for a pair of bears, 3 pairs of bears will score you whatever, or you want your hawks in a row or whatever it might be. Just some interesting different scoring mechanisms with those, and then kind of just trying to keep all your mountains together or whatever. It's just a lot of things to think about, but at the same time you're limited options, so it's not like oh, I have no idea what I want to do here. It's like, well, I really like that tile, I don't really like any of those other tiles, but I also don't want that fox, because you almost never want the foxes in any game. It seems like. And it seems like there's always a ton of foxes out there. But it's like, oh, I really want that bear one, but I don't really like that tile. So it's just kind of managing those interesting decisions. And it's usually a pretty quick game, unless you're playing at the World Series of Board Gaming, where I'm pretty sure they played like a 3-hour game of it. I have never played it at 3 hours.
I would not know how to make it last that long.
Yeah, if I was playing this and it took 3 hours, I don't think I would play the game anymore. Because I don't.
It's literally.
It's a good game. It's a really great
tile.
game. It's a great game, but oh boy,
Yeah.
boy. But to be fair, they were playing for money, so
That's true.
we are usually not playing for any high stakes of money.
Maybe we should spice up our game nights.
Yeah, start playing.
$25,000.
Start playing for $25,000 and see how long the games take then.
There you go.
But no, this is a really solid game. It's one of those. I think it could be right there as kind of an introductory game, welcoming game to the hobby. I think a lot of people would like this one, because I think just the nature theme, even though it's kind of overwhelmed the board game sphere in the last couple of years, I think that's still something that's relatable for people that might not be into board gaming as much, or might not be into it at all.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you could approach them with, and they're not like, oh, I'm not into kind of fantasy and stuff. That might scare some people off, whereas this, it's like, okay, I understand salmon, birds, and bears.
And there's there's no turn pressure really, because it's like you can't really plan your moves all that much. I mean, you can try, but
you can, and then you look at the tile and you watch as someone takes it.
You gotta just take, you can only take what's out there, and then once you've picked, typically, you can take some time to get that in place while other people are playing. So I feel like some of these, so I feel like you're right. It's a great welcoming game for a lot of reasons. So it's a good pick. All right. The next one I'm going to recommend is It's a Wonderful World.
Oh, boy.
Which has been a hit in our game group this last year, partially because we've been playing this Legacy? What is that? Box. Storyline? There's a storyline version. The blue box of It's a Wonderful World.
Oh, yeah. We played... Yeah,
it's over there by the rolling.
Yeah, I guess it's a campaign.
Sure.
That's what I'd call it.
A campaign.
Because you're not actually, like...
Yeah.
You're not, like, ripping up cards and changing them permanently.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So this game, I think, is really popular in our game group even before the campaign. And it's just so simple. It's like pure engine building. Zach and Carson, I know, just loved it. When we've played it in a couple of tournaments now, or one tournament at least. And it's just so pure, and it holds... I think
One of our own tournaments,
yes.
We're not world-ranked players at the game.
Not yet. No, but it also plays up to 6 players, which is great. It has a great player count for that reason. We can play it when we have 6 players here, and everyone enjoys it just because you can just really focus on your engine and how you want that to go. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And we recently got to shake it up by getting that campaign, which was a lot of fun to run through. I think we played like 2 or 3 games in one night just because everyone was like, "Oh, let's just keep going." And this is a game that you can play it over and over again like that, which I feel like I can't do with a lot of games, and so it's a wonderful world. I think it's just a solid game. I think anyone other than Blake, everyone we've introduced it to, I think has really liked it. And it's just solid. It's kind of that. It's kind of crunchy, but it's not crunchy. It's kind of as crunchy as you want to make it, kind of a style game. And
I don't know that he necessarily didn't like it.
Yeah,
I think he was very overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. But yeah, that could have been a multitude of reasons he was under the gun learning it. So
yeah.
But Blake aside, I think it's a great game to bring to game nights, regardless of who's there, because I think it is approachable, and it's really straightforward. So
yeah, that's a solid choice. Then my last one for our game bag here is a game that I recently got. I'd played it a couple times on the app and once in person with an old edition of the game, but then when they brought this one out, I had my eye on it. It was
take my money.
Pretty beautiful. That's Castles of Burgundy, the special edition. This is when I saw it, I was really tempted, and initially I didn't back it, and I didn't back it in the actual campaign. It was a late pledge back, pretty late actually. It was actually pretty late in the pledge too.
Are you a board game fan?
And yeah, I'm like, just everything, all the new artwork and stuff just looked so beautiful. And it was a game I knew I liked. I was a little bit worried because I know Jesse didn't. I mean, I think he liked the mechanisms in the game. He just thought it went a little long, and I would agree that is one thing about it is it is a longer game. Even if you really knew how to play the game, it would probably still be, a very minimum. If you're playing at 3 or 4 players,
if you have
and you were really going, you knew what you were doing, I think it'd still take an hour and a half, even if you had 3, 4 really good players.
Just by sheer number of turns you have to take.
Yeah.
It's like 25 each.
Yeah. Which, it's still somehow, even with, when you just say it, it's like that. It seems like you're getting more turns.
Okay, well, like New Orleans is,
I guess you're getting
Orleans
50. You're getting 50 moves, right? Because it's 25.
Yeah.
And you're getting
so
2
it's
dice.
200 turns.
Well,
total.
200 total. So that makes it sound like a lot.
Well,
a lot more.
Orleans is 18 rounds. This one's 5 rounds, but like Orleans is way less time wise.
That's true. But yeah, this one is just it really is a fantastic game. There's just points coming from all these different areas, I would say, and yeah, with this edition, they've got a great reference. I don't own the original versions. I don't know what that has. Maybe it did have a cheat sheet, but this one was really well done, and you can even look at the back of the tiles on these ones to see if you really, instead of wanting to look at that, you could just flip them over, see what they do. But yeah, otherwise this is a game where you're rolling a couple dice and then you're taking actions by either gaining some tiles or placing tiles out onto your little grid board, and then the various tiles do various things. Some give you extra actions, some give you just points, some give you trading goods and stuff. It's just all the stuff feels really good. I just love the feeling of when you roll and you're like, oh yes, I can pick up that tile and place it. That's really satisfying.
When that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get unlucky and you just aren't getting the.
Every time I played.
Wow.
I don't know if I can support this in the game bag, babe.
This is the big night feel. This is main event game.
Only because of the components. I don't know that there's that much replayability.
Okay.
The maps change.
Oh boy.
The tiles
you better hope no
up.
one makes it this far in the video, Mac, because they're going to eat you alive in the comments. They are going to light you up.
There is. It's always the same color tiles. It just
Okay.
different which one comes out.
You tell them that.
I just don't know if I'd want to play this every time we get together.
Wow. I can play this a lot.
It's like 2 hours.
And I love it.
I know I picked Ark Nova for 3 hours, but I don't know if I can. Okay. It's alright. It is a good game. It doesn't even fit in the game bag, though.
Oh, it would fit. We would make it fit.
Alright, my last one is kind of just a blanket statement.
A blanket statement.
It's not really a specific game, but my recommendation for the last game in my game bag would be a legacy or a campaign game.
Well, we don't know if this is going to fit in the bag. We don't know how big it is.
Yeah. Ark Nova doesn't fit in the game, so just chill. I think we've had a lot of fun doing like
That's more campaign.
I said campaign or legacy.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
I just heard
the
legacy.
I forget what it's called now.
Rise of Fenris.
Thank you, Rise of Fenris. We've done Clank Legacy. We've done Charterstone.
I'm imagining Clank Legacy box in there.
Yeah.
That's a huge box,
It's
too.
a huge box. We've done, like I said, the It's a Wonderful World campaign. We've done the Space Pluto campaign.
I know which one's going in there. Me and Pepper have been waiting for it.
I'm not playing Pandemic.
No. You gals are like, oh, we don't got any time to play this.
Take it to Ride.
Take it to Ride Legacy.
Legacy, Viticulture World.
To the table right after this.
Yeah. I think these are just great because if you don't have like regular, if it's not your goal if you want to do like more regular gameplay, I think what we found is like when we do legacies, we're more likely to set up that time to have those days where we play games. And I think we just have so much fun doing legacies with a group of gamers just because it's like we can all be involved. There's this change or this campaign and you all just are like invested in the game, and I think that just brings a different level to game nights when you're doing stuff like that where it's like you're not just sitting down to play a game, like there's a purpose like or a goal other than winning the game, which I think just is a different vibe, and so it kind of brings even more togetherness than a game night already does. So I can't recommend legacies or campaigns enough if you have a regular group of gamers and it's something that you want to kind of throw down. So I think those are great game night things.
Yeah, I do agree. But yeah, other than that, I think those were 10 pretty solid choices. So you can if you need her to explain any specific legacies more, let us know in the comments below, or let us know what's in your game bag. But otherwise, like I said, we've got that video from a couple years ago. You can check that one out and see which one you agree with more, our current game bags or the game bags of 2 years ago.
I'd probably combine our game bags.
You would
take
combine?
Some out from
You'd
last
take 20
time.
games? Oh.
I'd take some out from last time, put some in from this time.
Yeah, let us know which ones you would put in your game bag. But otherwise, we hope to see you on other videos. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.